A shocking royal twist is unfolding. The British royal family is rumored to be taking action to revoke Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's passports. Behind closed doors, secret decisions, legal pressure, and royal power plays are all in motion. Is this the firm's final strike against the Sussexes? The passport uproar. Did Palace block the Sussex passports? The moment Prince Harry and Meghan Markle applied for British passports for their children, everything suddenly became complicated. What normally takes around 3 weeks stretched into months, triggering serious concern inside the Sussex camp. Reports from Geo News and Jang revealed that Harry and Meghan believed these delays were not routine mistakes, but a deliberate slowdown. The suspicion was clear. Something powerful was standing in the way. At the center of the tension were the names Archie and Lilibet, officially listed with HRH titles. According to People.com, insiders claimed certain officials were uncomfortable with those titles appearing on legal documents. For Harry, this wasn't about privilege, it was about birthright. The rules changed the moment King Charles became monarch in 2022, making the children legally entitled to royal status. Removing that from paperwork felt, to the Sussexes, like a quiet attempt to rewrite history. Sources say communication stalled, emails went unanswered, and frustration grew by the week. One insider reportedly said, "It felt like someone was hoping we'd just give up." That didn't happen. After legal advisors stepped in and warned of possible action, the passports were finally approved. The sudden resolution only deepened suspicion about why the delay existed in the first place. What was supposed to be a simple administrative process turned into a symbol of power, control, and identity. And as this issue closed, another battle was already unfolding behind palace walls, one that would drag royal titles straight into the spotlight. The royal title debate. HRH drama behind closed doors. After the passport delay scandal, the spotlight shifted to an even bigger storm, the fight over royal titles. When King Charles took the throne in 2022, tradition dictated that Archie and Lilibet automatically became prince and princess. But the question was, would they be allowed to use those titles? And more importantly, would they be recognized as HRH? According to Geo News, Prince Harry stood firm. He believed the titles weren't about status, but about giving his children the freedom to choose in the future. In private conversations, he reportedly said he didn't want them forced into royal duties, but neither did he want them erased from the family narrative. But critics, both in the press and inside palace walls, saw it differently. They called it contradictory, stepping down from royal life yet holding on to its perks. What made things worse was the public backlash. Senior palace sources allegedly called the Sussexes' decision tone-deaf and confusing to the public. Many believed the couple was trying to have it both ways, private citizens in California, yet clinging to royal labels. Tensions escalated when it became clear that the title debate was directly affecting official matters, like the children's passports and public records. One palace aide reportedly told a journalist, "They want distance, but not detachment." And that's what made this situation so explosive. The HRH fight wasn't just about names. It symbolized the battle for identity, legacy, and control. The passport problem had been the opening act. The real war was over what it meant to be royal, and who gets to decide. And just when things couldn't get more personal, Harry considered a dramatic name change. The surname shakeup, Spencer option emerges. When the passport delays dragged on and tensions over titles kept rising, Prince Harry reportedly began considering something no one expected: changing his children's surname to Spencer, his late mother's family name. According to Arise News, The idea came straight from frustration. If the palace didn't want to honor Archie and Lilibet's royal identity, then Harry would take things into his own hands and use the name that meant the most to him, Diana's. Behind the scenes, this potential switch sent shockwaves. Choosing Spencer over Mountbatten Windsor would have been deeply symbolic, a move that many saw as a final break from the monarchy. It was a statement not just of independence, but of allegiance to his mother's legacy rather than the crown's. Legal experts warned this wasn't just a personal decision. It could have serious diplomatic and legal consequences. The palace reportedly feared it would trigger a public backlash and open the door for other ex-royals to do the same. Some insiders called it the nuclear option. Still, the fact that Harry was even thinking about it showed just how deep the damage had gone. But after long discussions, legal briefings, and pressure from advisors, the plan was dropped. The passports were issued with the original royal surname, and the name change discussion faded, at least for now. Still, this brief chapter revealed just how far Harry was willing to go. And it only widened the already growing gap between him and the institution he was born into. But what did the palace have to say about all this? That's where things really started to unravel. Palace denials versus Sussex claims, the war of words. As public speculation exploded, the palace finally broke its silence. Buckingham Palace issued a rare and firm denial, stating that there was no attempt to block or delay the children's passports. Meanwhile, the Sussex's spokesperson refused to comment on what they called private family matters. But the silence only made things louder. According to People.com, both sides stuck to their own narrative. While the palace painted the whole ordeal as a misunderstanding, those close to Harry and Meghan insisted the timing, tone, and resistance all pointed to something more. One royal insider said, "This isn't about paperwork. It's about power." The media latched on fast. Headlines from both sides of the Atlantic ran with competing versions of events. British tabloids called it a stunt, while American outlets framed the issue as institutional pushback. The drama turned into a full-blown PR battle, and neither side came out looking clean. Royal experts started calling it a communications disaster. The firm had underestimated how the public would react to something as symbolic as a delayed passport. And the Sussexes, by not fully speaking out, left just enough ambiguity to fuel 1,000 theories. Soon, the whispers turned into conspiracies, with some corners of social media claiming the palace wanted to revoke Harry's passport altogether, despite there being no legal basis for it. Still, the fact that the situation had reached this level of chaos showed just how unstable the relationship had become. And now, the big question had to be asked. Could they even legally take away someone's passport? The answer wasn't what most people expected. What the law actually says: can passports be revoked? Amid all the noise and speculation, legal experts stepped in to answer the question that had everyone talking. Can the royal family actually revoke Prince Harry or Meghan's passports? The short and simple answer is no. Not legally, not under standard law. In the United Kingdom, passport control is handled by the Home Office, not the monarchy. And passports can only be revoked or denied under very specific conditions. According to British law, a passport can be refused or taken away if a person is involved in serious criminal activity, terrorism, or national security threats. None of these apply to Prince Harry. There is no mechanism for the Crown, not even the King himself, to strip someone of their passport purely for personal or political reasons. Meghan, being a U.S. citizen, holds an American passport, and there is absolutely no chance of her losing it over a royal title debate. According to Newsweek, her legal rights are protected under U.S. law and entirely out of the reach of any British influence. Harry's British passport remains valid and intact. There's no criminal case, no legal complaint against him, and therefore no grounds to revoke anything. What's important to understand is that while the palace may have influence, they do not have absolute power over personal legal documents like passports. One royal legal analyst told a UK outlet, even if Charles wanted to send a message, he couldn't do it through passport control. So why did this theory spread so quickly? Because what began as a bureaucratic delay turned into a symbolic war, and once emotion entered the conversation, logic took a back seat. And if we look back through history, nothing like this has ever happened before. Historical precedent. Has this ever happened before? Royal watchers searched for examples from the past, trying to see if any other royal family members had faced passport interference. But the answer is clear: never. In British royal history, there is no known case where someone's passport or legal identity was revoked or blocked by the Crown. Even during moments of extreme scandal, from Edward VIII's abdication in 1936 to Princess Diana's divorce in 1996, passports remained untouched. That's because passports are legal documents, not royal favors. No matter how dramatic royal conflicts become, they rarely spill into government-controlled systems. Not even during Prince Andrew's legal troubles or Harry's split from royal duties did anyone raise the possibility of passport denial. Until now. What makes this moment different is the influence of social media and a global spotlight. The digital age moves fast, and once rumors catch fire, they're almost impossible to put out. One post can go viral in minutes, making a wild theory feel like fact. Royal officials have quietly warned behind the scenes, we're fighting emotion, not reality. So no. There's no historical example of a British royal losing their passport over a family rift. But this scandal became unique because it blurred the line between symbolic punishment and legal control, and because, for the first time, the public actually believed it could happen. Next, the real emotional weight of this mess fell on Harry and Meghan, and behind the scenes, the damage was much deeper than anyone imagined. The personal angle. How this hit Harry and Meghan hard. Behind the headlines and speculation was something much more human. The emotional toll this battle took on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. After stepping back from royal duties in early 2020, the couple moved to California with hopes of starting fresh. But despite putting thousands of miles between them and the palace, the shadow of the crown followed them. The passport delay, title drama, and endless press speculation hit them in a deeply personal way. According to close insiders cited by Wikipedia and royal correspondents, Harry felt the passport situation wasn't just paperwork. It was a clear message from the institution he was born into. You're out, and we're making sure you feel it. Meghan, who already faced enormous media pressure, reportedly saw the issue as a deliberate attempt to strip their children of identity and dignity. It triggered old wounds, especially for Harry, whose mother, Princess Diana, also fought against institutional control. For the Sussexes, this wasn't just about bureaucracy, it was about trust, or rather, the complete lack of it. They saw the delay as yet another chapter in a long-running saga of being pushed aside, undermined, and shut out. One source told a U.S. outlet, "They left to protect their family, and now their children's very names are being challenged." Some royal insiders even compared this passport drama to earlier battles over security, press access, and financial support, all of which played out in public and chipped away at the fragile relationship with the palace. Each event, including this one, became a piece of a much larger story. The slow, painful unraveling of one of the most famous royal family ties in modern history. And while Harry and Meghan were quietly dealing with that, behind closed doors, the public reaction outside was anything but quiet. Public and media reaction, fury, support, and mockery. The moment the passport and royal title drama reached the media, the public reaction was instant and deeply split. In the United Kingdom, the press went on the offensive. Tabloids like The Sun and Daily Mail accused Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of playing what they called title games, using their children's HRH status to hold on to royal prestige while refusing to serve the monarchy. Geo News reported that UK headlines branded the couple as entitled, manipulative, and even desperate to claw their way back into the royal fold. British commentators questioned if Harry and Meghan left the royal family in 2020 for a quieter private life, why were they now fighting for royal recognition on official documents? One prominent royal columnist said, "You can't step away and still expect the privileges. That's not how monarchy works." The British narrative painted the couple as wanting the best of both worlds, and the backlash was swift. But in the United States, the tone was drastically different. American outlets framed the issue as a class struggle, with the palace representing institutional control and the Sussexes fighting for fairness and dignity. The idea that Archie and Lilibet could be quietly erased from the royal record struck many Americans as cruel and outdated. Meghan's identity as a biracial American woman added emotional weight to the coverage. Across platforms like CNN, BuzzFeed, and The View, commentators linked the controversy to broader conversations about race, privilege, and colonial legacy. Then came the chaos on social media. On platforms like Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, the passport drama became a battlefield. Memes mocking both sides flooded timelines. Some accounts claimed King Charles wanted to revoke Harry's British citizenship, a legal impossibility, but one that spread quickly. Others mocked the Sussexes for being overly dramatic, posting sarcastic messages like, "Next they'll demand a crown emoji" on their driver's license. But in between the jokes were people taking the matter seriously, warning that this was no longer just about names or documents. It was about legacy. One tweet that went viral read, "This isn't just a family feud anymore. It's a public battle for the next generation's place in history." Even palace aides reportedly admitted that the situation had become a PR disaster. By staying silent, the palace allowed speculation to grow. But the Sussexes' silence wasn't much better. It created a vacuum where rumors thrived. People began asking, who's really in control here? And just when the fire couldn't burn any hotter, a third force walked in, America's immigration system, and it brought a whole new layer of pressure and uncertainty, one that Harry could never have seen coming. Trump, visas, and international angle, just when it seemed the controversy couldn't grow any larger, it suddenly crossed borders, right into the heart of the U.S. legal system. The spotlight shifted from British passports to American immigration as new questions surfaced about Prince Harry's visa status. According to The Independent, conservative watchdog groups filed formal court petitions to uncover the details of Harry's immigration paperwork. At the center of their claim was a key question. Did Harry admit to using drugs on his application to live in the U.S.? Under U.S. immigration law, any applicant who admits to past drug use, including marijuana, cocaine, or psychedelics, can be denied a visa or green card. The problem? In his own memoir, Spare, published in January 2023, Harry openly discussed experimenting with substances in his youth. Critics seized on this, claiming he may have lied on official forms, and if so, could be deported. The fear among supporters was real. Could Harry lose his legal right to live in the United States? Then came the moment that poured gasoline on the fire. Donald Trump got involved. In an explosive comment reported by the New York Post, Trump stated he would not go out of his way to protect Harry if he won the 2024 U.S. election. His exact words? "I wouldn't protect him. He betrayed the Queen." With that one quote, what had been a quiet legal filing became a global political circus. Suddenly, Harry's immigration status became a tool in partisan warfare, and royal watchers were left stunned. Was this really happening? Could a British prince, born into the world's most famous monarchy, now be facing the threat of exile from two countries? From a legal standpoint, the answer remains no, at least for now. As of today, there is no confirmed violation, and Harry remains in the U.S. legally. There has been no evidence that he falsified immigration documents, and legal experts caution that even public admissions in a memoir aren't necessarily proof of wrongdoing. Still, the optics of it all were damaging. It created an international pressure cooker of royal shame, political attack, and legal speculation. Symbolically, it felt like Prince Harry was being cornered. On one side, the UK seemed to be fighting him over his children's titles and documents. On the other side, American immigration activists and politicians were questioning whether he deserved to live in the country at all. The headlines became surreal. A prince, once considered the spare heir to the throne, now being discussed as a potential stateless figure, with no clear place to belong. Some experts called it the most internationally embarrassing chapter in the entire Sussex saga. The image of Harry, caught between palace politics, U.S. immigration law, and media warfare, became a global symbol of how far this family drama had spiraled. And through it all, at the center of the storm, were two children, Archie and Lilibet, whose identities, futures, and even passports were being debated in courtrooms and newspapers. As one immigration lawyer told the press, "This isn't just about a visa. It's about power, privilege, and the price of walking away from the throne." So where does this all leave us? The truth is, we still don't know. Because just like the royal family itself, the story is unfinished, and the stakes are rising. The cliffhanger. Ending. What happens next? As of now, no passports have been revoked, no visas cancelled, but the damage is already done. What started as a quiet paperwork issue has now exploded into a full-blown constitutional dilemma for the monarchy. Behind the palace gates, this situation has sparked urgent debate among royal advisors and senior aides. Should there now be a new royal rulebook for those who step away from active duty? Should there be official policies governing titles, documents, and privileges for ex-working royals? Sources close to King Charles suggest he is under increasing pressure to establish long-term reforms that would eliminate these gray areas. For too long, the monarchy has operated with unwritten rules, relying on tradition over legal clarity. But the Sussex controversy and the public chaos it created has exposed how risky that model is in the modern age. Discussions are reportedly underway to codify expectations, especially around children born to royals who no longer serve the crown. At the heart of the conversation is one major question. What does it mean to be royal if you're no longer working? That's where Prince William comes in. Royal insiders believe that once he ascends the throne, he will want to modernize the system completely. Some say he's already exploring the idea of redefining HRH status altogether, limiting its use to only full-time royal representatives. If that happens, Archie and Lilibet could find themselves in a strange, uncomfortable space, legally prince and princess, but publicly invisible. There's growing speculation that their titles could be removed from official documents, or at the very least, quietly phased out of public use. Already, we've seen how titles can be politically controlled, and how documents like passports become tools in that larger struggle. As one royal advisor hinted, this is the kind of quiet restructuring Charles wants to complete before he hands the reins to William. For Harry and Meghan, the fight over their children's identity is far from over. While they've built a new life in Montecito in California, they are still tethered to a system thousands of miles away. A system that controls not only names, but narratives and even perception. Every request, every document, every headline still requires them to navigate an institution they no longer trust. And that tension isn't going away. As one royal expert bluntly put it, this wasn't about travel, it was about power. Who has it? Who's losing it? And who's not allowed to forget it? The idea that a passport delay could trigger such a deep royal crisis may sound absurd on the surface, but when it comes to the British monarchy, nothing is ever that simple. One thing is certain, this story isn't finished. The slow burn between the palace and the Sussexes will continue, in the press, in the courts, and behind closed doors. The royal family's future rules will likely be written not in ceremony, but in conflict. Because in this world, even a form, a name, a stamp, can be a battlefield. And in the royal game of power, nothing, not even a passport, is ever just paperwork. This battle isn't over, and if passports are next, nothing is off the table in the war between royals and Sussexes.